something because sometimes a message comes across the screen, sometimes it doesn't. So let's begin. So my name's Mitch. I'm a corporate trainer for Mock Products. And as you may or may not know, folks like Kaki from Hawaii have been on my introductory course, my onboarding class, but it's okay if this is the first time you've seen me. What we normally do is we talk business. I talk to you about how to structure your multi-point inspections and your videos. I talk to you about how to, build value into a product and features and benefits and things like that. And that stuff's really helpful. If you haven't been to my onboarding class, I talk a lot about the power of positive language and how I feel that we can convince customers that we're honest and truthful. And I have classes about walkarounds and active delivery and CSI and how to answer the phone and set reservations and appointments and all of that stuff that y'all do every day. And to tell you the truth, even with our boss man, Frank, on, I think some of that is important. But honestly, I don't think anything is as important as some of the stuff that we're going to discuss today. Remember, I only want you to sell two things all day, every day. Yourself and your team. But a lot of that is just lip service. How specifically do we sell ourselves? We do it by what we say and how we say it. We do it by body language. We do it by gestures and eye contacts and things like that. But if I instruct you as a teacher to have better eye contact, am I really coaching you? I used to be a coach. And I was a terrible basketball coach. One of the reasons I'm 5'4" and I'm not good at basketball. But I was a track coach as well, and I wasn't very good at it either. And I used to tell the kids, I'd say, Nathan, run faster. And I would think that was coaching. See, you got to give specifics. So today, instead of saying, I want you to have better eye contact, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of some things that I've researched and how we can get better eye contact. Instead of saying, let's have a good greeting, we're going to go through some greetings. I'll call on a couple of you. This is a big class, so I'm not going to call on everybody to answer every question. But what I want to do is make sure that we share strategies on how to sell the most important asset we own, ourselves and our attitude. So with that being said, let me share my screen and we'll begin. So first, this class is called Sell Yourself and Offer Guidance. Now, I'm going to talk a lot about guidance. It's a new course and a new direction. The reason that I'm bolding these is I want to give you a challenge to not merely advise. You're doing that already. But how do we switch from advising customers to guiding them? I think we need to invest ourselves in the customer and they in us. But that only comes with trust. We'll go over trust in a minute. The second word that I want to give you a little homework assignment on is direction. Please don't be an order taker. But even worse, don't be an order giver. Give direction to your customer. Share with the customers why we're doing stuff, not just what we're doing. I go over that in the speech. What we're doing is getting rid of all your old broken down fluid and replacing it with new. No crap.
You ever heard of him?
Why? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
There you go, Edgar. Why don't you mute yourself for a second? No worries. All right. So I want to get behind the why. So we'll go back to my screen. New course, new direction. Now, Michaela, be ready to speak. I'm going to ask Michaela something. This question right here. So be ready. I want a little icebreaker for this class. I share with people that we need to show our best attribute every day. And if you've been in my classes, you know my best attribute is energy. But if I could have any superpower, you know what my superpower would be? Convincing. I want to convince people that I'm right. If I could have any superpower, if it's time travel or invisibility or great strength like my man in Greeley has, I wouldn't choose any of those. If I could have any superpower, it would be to convince people that what I'm sharing with them is the truth. But Michaela, if you could have any superpower, what would your superpower be? Why don't you share that with the crowd?
If I had a superpower, I think it would be something like Doctor Strange, like controlling time and stuff like that.
Controlling. Did y'all hear what she said? This girl wants to control stuff. Man, I tell you, I'm scared to be in control. Everybody ought to be fearful if I'm ever in control of anything. I share with people all the time. I am psychotic, man. I can get us in a jam good. So one thing, if you could control stuff, what would you like to control? Something small, but something important. What would you control?
More so, I'd like to like pause time so I can have more time to do whatever I want.
Oh, I like that. Now that want, man, that's a whole nother class. What we want and what we have, that's often weird. Those the two things never really meet, but I like that. Pausing time, creating time. I like all that. As we talk about selling ourselves, think of your superpower. What do you want to be? If you could influence your customers in any way, how would you do it? How would you be impactful to your customers? Michaela wants to pause time so she can take more time. Hopefully, the time is well spent and the things that she does would be strong. That's what I would hope for. So whatever your superpower is, if you can do it legally in just a little bit of a manner with your customers, let's do it. Now, I've already shared with you guys that I'm a big believer in positive language. We'll call on let's see who needs to be ready. Let me go to my chat. Let me get somebody. Abigail, I'm gonna call on you next, so be ready. Let me go back to my screen. All right. Big believer in positive language. We got to set the tone. All right. If you've ever been to Texas, there's a big gas station. It's called Buc-ee's. And Buc-ee's has become more than just a gas station. They got like 64 toilets. And my people in Greeley, I think there's one up there by FOCO now. If y'all ain't been to Buc-ee's, you need to go. Every time you go in, those people yell, "Welcome to Buc-ee's, welcome to Buc-ee's." Everybody's welcome to Buc-ee's. They talk about these bathrooms. They make it exciting to be at a gas station. But if you've never been to this gas station, it's like no other, okay? So we need to set the tone. We need to greet warmly. I'm going to send this packet out to Frank. He can disseminate it. If you want this packet, drop your email in the chat and I'll email you this or the clip afterwards so you don't have to take notes. But look, we can have a simple greeting like, "Good morning, how can I assist you?" I want to share with you again, words like assist are they're just a little more special than, what can I do for you today? Assist. I'm here to help ensure that your car gets the best care. You can say something like that. One of my greetings is, "Are you here to see anyone in particular?" Okay. I think it's a really good greeting. That lasting first impression is so good. So, Abigail, what is your greeting? When you walk up to somebody, when you answer the phone, give me an Abigail greeting. How do you make it special? How do you make me remember you?
Well, first of all, I always smile. Absolutely. The minute someone walks in the door, "Hey, welcome to Garff Nissan. How can I help you today? What's going on today?" That's what I usually do. But I always make sure I have a good positive energy with me, for sure.
Hey, I love positive energy. I love smiling. It also works on the phone. Smile through the phone. I like it.
Yeah.
Again, one of the first things we need to do when we're selling ourselves is make that first impression. Alex, you're up next. Let me go back to my screen. All right. Couple things. Again, we're using simple, directive, positive language. We want to discuss the diagnosis early. We can talk about products being replaced. We can make sure that the car is running smoothly and safely. And again, I'm a bold safe. Please beware of what is safe and what's not. And again, how is this selling yourself? Because you care. Instead of talking to people about their alignments and using very basic language, share with people your expertise and share with them things like, with your vehicle out of an alignment, especially in Salt Lake City or in Greeley in snowy conditions, if you go into a braking situation, you might go into a skid. Bro, I don't want you to go into a skid, but mean it. Go above and beyond what just a regular diagnosis or a regular word track is. I like to say it helps avoid costly repair and breakdown. Okay. It's one of the things, it's kind of generic, but I want to discuss that diagnosis with a customer. I want to focus on solutions, and Alex, be ready. I want to talk about concerns. Y'all know that. Please use the word concern, not problem, not issue. It's an item of concern. It's just, it makes a connection with the customer. Okay. You can talk about fixing things quickly, getting them back on the road, being very conversation, or you can be like a robot like me, certified technician, is certain that this was the cause. This is how we fix your vehicle. Now, Alex, I'm gonna give you a tough. Alex, how do you convince a customer that what we diagnosed is truly going to fix their vehicle? Give me one. Make me feel good that what you're saying is going to help me.
Using the certified technicians as well as certified parts department, making sure we're using the right parts and they're OEM genuine Honda parts. So
All right. I like genuine Honda. Please don't use jargon. We'll get into that in a minute. Genuine parts. I like all that. And again, that's selling your team. That's selling your parts and your service. I like all that. All right. Keep going. And then was it David? Was that my man in Greeley? Yeah. David, you're up next. Let me go back to my screen. Got to talk about time frames. All right. One of the time frames that I researched, good word track, service is going to be completed on schedule. Talk about the schedule. Get you back on the road this afternoon. If you want to be general, I like giving a specific time. It'll be completed by 3 o'clock. David, my question to you is, give us a tip on promise time. Because one way that we can sell ourselves, and we'll get to this in a minute, is to be right. David, how do you ascertain whether or not we're on a good promise time? And if we're not, what do you do? How do you get me back knowing that it's going to be all right? My truck's going to be out when we promise. Talk to me a little bit about that. How do you do that? How do you share promise time?
Honestly, been doing this for 3 weeks now.
Oh, heck, man. Well, all right. Well, poke the man next to you. If you've been here longer than 3 weeks, sir, maybe you can be his relief pitcher and get him out. Talk to me about promise time, because we want to be right.
Exactly how long he is. We start at the same time.
Okay. Anybody want to jump in and talk to me about promise time? Unmute and talk to me. How do you go over promise time with the customer? How do you make sure that what we say is what we deliver?
I'd say give yourself extra time. You know,
How much
tell them
extra?
it's going to be 4 o'clock instead of, you know, if it's going to be done sooner, hey, you're the hero.
Sooner makes you the hero. All right. We're going to get to more of this in a minute. To be right. And Nathan, you're going to be up next. Look, we got to be right. We got to set expectations. Build yourself a cushion. Always, though, end in a hard time. If you haven't been to my first class, always focus on the time on your phone, not the number of minutes. Studies have shown that your customers get 3 times more anxious when waiting on the number of minutes than waiting on the time. All right. Let's skip down a little bit. Let's talk about the close, the end. Now, I talked about the lasting or the first impression, and Nathan, you're about to go next. What I want to skip forward to is, what do we say at the end when we're doing our active delivery? We can be very basic and share with the customer via a call or a text that their car is ready for pickup. We can do that. I would rather, if you're doing it this way, to schedule your deliveries. And I'll piggyback on something that Michaela said. We want to slow down time. We need to slow down time so we can have a nice active delivery. If you're not doing an active delivery, I got a class. It's got a short active delivery, a medium, and a large one. Or you could be a little more positive and text a customer, thanks for trusting us with your car, with your Camry, with your truck. We look forward to seeing you next time. Or if you want to be a little more thorough, okay, because one of the ways that we can sell ourselves is by paying attention to detail. So what if we did this at the end? And Nathan, I want to know what you share with a customer at the end during your active delivery. What if we said something like, hope your experience was as great as it was for me. To schedule your next service, just scan the QR code on your service sticker and I'll see you in a few months. Show of hands, anybody setting up the next service like that? It's a tool that's at your disposal. See, I think a lot of times customers look at you and they feel like you're a part of your paycheck. But when you say, hey, I hope the experience was as good for you as it was for me, you know, I sure had fun with you today. And next time, all you got to do is scan this. Next time, all you got to do is do this. That little part of the active delivery can make people feel like you care. So Nathan, how do you end it? Give me a tip for your active delivery that you're selling yourself on the fact that you did all you could for me and my daughter.
First off, by telling them thank you for choosing, for instance, Ken Garff Hyundai in Surprise, Arizona. Thank you for your business. And what time and day would you like to schedule your next appointment? For instance, oil change, tire rotation.
Awesome. What time? I like that. One of the things that I share with folks when I schedule an appointment is I ask them what day of the week works best and what time of the day. Because if they pick a time of the day that's not good for a day of the week, it could get janky, or vice versa. So that's something that you might want to add to that speech. Again, showing people that you care. Next. Uh-oh, my page went blank. All right. Let's go over building trust. We all talk about this. We want the customers to trust us. We want them to trust us. Trust is a big deal. One of the things that I share in my walk around class, if you haven't been around, I like to give directions during the walk around. I like to direct it. I like to say, Cocky, hop back in your Kia for me. And he does. Fire up your vehicle. And he does. Turn your wheels to the left. And he does. The reason I like to do that during my walk around is it sets a tone that when I give directions, the customer takes them. But the other thing is it makes it seem like I'm right. Like, hey, get back in your car, and it does. Hey, that happened. Start your car, and it does. Those little things, hey, I'm going to go get you a cup of water, and you do. With the little things, look, I'm going to show you something on your tires, and you do. Makes a customer believe that what you say you're going to do, you do. That's how to build trust. But there are a couple more tips that I want to discuss with you. Let's go back to the screen. Now, first, please be transparent. Don't hide things from the customer. Don't lie to them. It's not how to make a customer for life, okay? Also, go over the services and repairs clearly without jargon. We're going to go over a little jargon in a minute. Don't say OEM and things like that. Customers don't understand it. All right. You can also show people stuff. It's not just about what you say. You almost all should have video multi-point inspections, which leads me to this. That video multi-point inspection is a way to show that you're transparent. I'm not guessing. My certified technician's not guessing. Look, they are shooting you a video of your Camry. It's a highlight video. And as you saw, your belts need to be replaced. So, Cocky, are y'all doing video multi-point inspections yet on the islands out there?
No, not yet.
All right, let me write that down. Video multi-point inspections. Show of hands, how many people are doing videos? All right. So let's go to let me go. Who I haven't called on? Who are my Angela? They said Megan and Alex. No. Let's go. They were at, gosh golly, I lost it. Let's go, Marissa. Marissa, Talk to me about video multi-point inspections. Are you watching them? Are you grading them? Do you watch them before you call somebody? Marissa, talk to me.
I don't personally, but I like to take my own pictures so I can go up to the customer and talk to them about it.
Are videos being sent to the customer and you're not watching them? Don't make that face, girl. Just say no. Did you see how she did? She made that face. Arr. Look, a bad video can scare people off just as well as a good video can reel people in. Please watch the videos. If you have any quality concerns, go to your manager or let me know, and I'll be the bad guy and I won't use your name. Look, we got to watch the videos because it helps with our transparency. Look, I hate to be the bearer of bad news to some of you, especially if you're new in the business. People do not have an inherent trust for automobile dealerships. We must be transparent. We got to get on that. Watch your videos. And if you don't know how to log in and watch them, let me know. Shoot me a chat or an email and I'll get you trained up on it. All right, let's communicate regularly. And I'm going to go back to Edgar. A couple of tips on communicating regularly throughout the service process. If there are any delays, let the customer know. Also, be specific. If you say you're going to call somebody, call them. But here's my tip for you. Walk the lounge. You ought to pick a time every hour and walk the lounge. Touch everybody. Everybody good? Anybody need anything? Even if it's not your customer, because somebody might say, hey, where's Edgar? And you can go get him. Take 30 seconds out of your day, each hour, walk the lounge. Okay? Now, with that being said, Edgar, if my car is going to be in your shop for a week, how often do you touch base with me?
I try to do it every day, at least some kind of
he
an update,
tries.
even if there is no update.
Even if there's no update, you need
Yeah.
to update me every day. There's no
least tell 'em,
try,
"Hey,
there's only
parts are
do. I'm
still
gonna be
on."
like, all right, I'm gonna be like Yoda. There's no try, there's only do. We got to touch base with the customers every day. This makes it, I mean, hell, you ought to want to do it, but again, it's just gonna be better. It's just gonna show the customer that you care. Jorge, you're up next. Got to deliver on our promises. Again, going back, kind of redundant. Your oil change is going to be completed by 1 p.m. Meet or exceed, build in the cushion. I like that. Next, let's give credit where credit's due. We already talked about certified technician, certified parts. I'm going to bring this one up. Only one person has said 2 words that I want to hear a bunch of y'all say. Ken Garff. How much are you talking about Ken Garff? How often do you say it? Are you being a part of what Ken Garff does? Do you even know what's being done in your community? I talked a couple of classes back. There were some things with dogs. There was some little canine thing. But we'll go to Jorge. Jorge, what's Ken Garff doing in your community? And are you a part of it?
Yeah, I mean, some of the things I've seen, like just around the dealership, I've seen so for Hispanic Heritage Month, they've had a few recognitions for either artists or people from the company, or people that have done movements for Hispanic heritage. So I definitely have seen what Ken Garff does
Awesome.
in the community. So, and I really find that really cool and interesting, to see them do that, and to all different kinds of communities, all different kinds of cultures, and integrate that in our.
It's super awesome being a part of the community. Things like Hispanic Heritage Month, super big deal. What I like to do, I don't like to take a selfie with it. Anytime you do community involvement, you ought to take a picture of the procedure of the whatever, like a big wide shot. Put it behind your desk in a little collage. You never know when supporting something means something to your customers. From soccer tournaments for little kids to, like Jorge said, some appreciation of an artist. Be a part of the solution. Don't be a part of the problem. And that goes, it's not on the sheet, but I'll share with you guys. Don't get caught up into gossip, especially my boys in Greeley. You're brand new. Don't gossip. Don't get caught up in it. Don't let somebody say, man, Stan is terrible. And you just go, Yeah, man. Don't be a part of it. Don't piggyback on that. Don't gossip. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's really not. All right, Abigail, be ready next. You're going to go up next. Let me share my screen. All right. Talked about the walk around, being right, give direction during your walk around. But Abigail, I'm going to give you this one because I'm going to speak on it first. Ben Franklin, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Boys and girls, you want to sell yourself? You want to have time to? You want to slow down time like Michaela wants to, like Dr. Strange or whoever she said? I'm no Marvel comic guy. You want to slow down time? I'll give you a tip on how to do it. Plan. See, if you don't plan for things like your next day, you know you're coming to work tomorrow. If you don't plan for that next day, you ain't ready. And when you ain't ready, you waste time. When you plan, you create time. So, Abigail, how are you planning for tomorrow today? Give me a couple of examples.
I think a huge thing is making sure that I have all of the parts that I promised for my customers today for tomorrow, that they are either en route or will be here. I plan calls and what I'm going to say to customers, rentals, make sure rentals are in and ready to be either have gas or mileage is all correct with all of them.
Awesome. I like that. Those are really good bits of advice. I'll throw one more in. I like to create a packet on the vehicle. If I know that I have reservations tomorrow, I like to look up any recalls, print those out, any scheduled maintenances, print those out, anything cool that I can pitch to the customer based on that, print those things out. If you're not planning, you're going to be reacting. Instead of being proactive, you're going to be reactive. And it's just something that we can't have. So again, you want to sell yourself, you want to have time, plan. You want to talk about that? I do that in phones and tones. We go over reservation processes, what we can print, how it looks, looking at history, which we'll talk more about in a minute. Let's go back to the screen. All right. Couple of tips. Avoid using jargon. And I can't remember who already did it, but they already did it earlier today. OEM. Boys and girls, take OEM, throw it in the trash. Your customers do not know what OEM is. You can say Honda parts. You can say Toyota. You can say your manufacturer's parts. Don't use jargon. But one that's really gotten to me lately, and there's been a bunch of this for my word tracks. Work order. Frank, you might want to plug your ears. Work is a negative word. People don't like the word work. So let's try not to bring that up when we're discussing their investments with their vehicles. I don't even really like repair order. You can use it, but just like your services, your visit, the paperwork, any of that is a little better. But don't say RO. If you are going to say repair order, say it. So not RO, say at least repair order, but don't say work order. Man, work is just really negative to a lot of people. Let's try to avoid that. Couple more. Diag. Diag's terrible. First, it's a diagnosis. Who's it being diagnosed by? My certified technician. Okay. Let's at least make it professional. Okay. Diag is merely slang. So don't do that. Also, if you want a little tip, talk to your customers about what is involved in diagnostics. Okay. Uh-oh, Cocky, you good? Okay,
Oh, what- oh,
somebody's
yeah.
yelling. See,
That's
some people are finally coming to work in Hawaii besides Cocky. That's awesome. So again, talk about the diagnosis. My certified technician goes through a process of elimination to see whatever it is. Talk about it, build value in it. It isn't just diag. Oh, and I see, I'm sorry, I haven't called on Gary. Gary, you're going to be next. You were down at the bottom of my screen and I just scrolled down there. I apologize for ignoring you. Next, top off fluids. Most of the customers don't know about what fluids we're topping off. So Gary, how do you share with customers that we're topping off fluids and where did my fluids go? Should it be something that I worry about? Talk to me about topping off fluids.
Morning, Mitch. Absolutely. You don't have to worry about me hiding in the corner here. I'm okay. Thanks so much.
That's all right.
What I'd prefer to do if I'm dealing with the customers, we want the hood open and we're showing them these things. that we might be needing to address either during the inspection. Now, if everything went good, you can always use that as part of your active delivery, showing them a couple of things that you've done.
I love it.
Showing them showing them their actual cabin air filter is a really good idea versus just showing them a display or something you have as a prop.
Yeah. Let me talk to y'all about what Gary just said. First, you can show people topping off fluids during the walk around and show them that their fluids are low, like their windshield. But you could pull out their cabin air filter, pitch a cabin air filter right there. But did you see how he slipped in that active delivery tip? During your active delivery, you could actually pop the hood again and show the customer, look, man, we topped off your fluids. So many times, especially when we do an oil change, and for you that have been in my classes before, you know I despise the word oil change. We don't do oil changes at Ken Garff. We do 5,000 mile services. We do 10,000 mile services. It's different, and you are a part of that. So you can pop the hood back and say, see, we did this. Also, if you're a battery service dealership, you could point to the battery and see a nice clean battery. See, we did this to you as well. What Gary was saying is show and sell. That's a very good tip. Megan, you're going to be up next. Let me go back to my screen. All right. Last piece of jargon, service interval. Hey, this is a service interval. Toyota interval, Kia interval. Your customers don't really know that. They also don't look at their scheduled maintenance guide. It's not being personal. Connect with me on why we do these things at different times. See, David, your oil, it goes bad about every 5,000 miles. It breaks down. That's why we replace it. Thankfully, your coolant lasts 50,000 miles. You see how I did that? That's how to introduce other items to make customers think that, again, we're connecting with them. We're giving them the why behind what they're doing. Now, Megan, you want to come off of mute? When do you go over scheduled maintenance? Do you do it pre-sale? Do you do it at the end of your process? Talk to me about when you look at menus, when you present them, and if you do, how you do so. Give me a service interval tip.
Yeah, are you actually able to hear me this time?
Yeah, I am. You're good to
Okay,
go, girl.
good.
You sound good.
Yeah, so I sometimes go before or after. It kind of depends on how I'm communicating with the customer. If they seem like they're more in a rush, then I talk about it later. But
Yeah.
if they are kind of chatting with me, I do then. And one of my favorite things about our service here at our specific dealership, we have what's called advanced tech, where we
What's
can
that called
print
again?
out
Advanced tech?
advanced tech. Yeah, it's Reynolds, but better.
Yeah.
We can put notes, and we actually get packets for multi-point inspections, and it does include breakdown of pricing, explanations of what it is, what the pricing is. Yeah. And so I like to go back into their history and find when the service was last done. I will write down the mileage, the date. If they haven't done them, I do check to see if they have the comprehensive warranty, because that warranty can be a little picky.
I like it.
I explain it to the customer. I'm like, I ask them if they have any questions about it or if they want me to explain in depth.
Yep.
Like with the differential fluid, the rear differential, a lot of customers are like, well, I haven't used my all-wheel drive system very often, so why is it recommended at this time? So I explained that it is used no matter when you drive the car. And even if that fluid is sitting there, that fluid is still there, it will break down over time. So
a couple of tips based on what Megan said, and thank you for that, those details. First, did you know your brake fluid? When someone says, well, I had a 68 Camaro, never did a brake fluid exchange. Your brake fluid's asked to do much more than it used to be. And in actuality, oftentimes your brakes are being used even if you don't hit the brake pedal, if you have traction control. So talking to people about how sophisticated these models are now, it's a real big deal. Antonio, you be ready next. All right. Oh, one other tip. If you're taking notes in the system, You ought to learn something cool about your customer. Like if they say their daughter plays softball for CSU or their son plays, golf at Georgia Tech, type that in your notes. And then the next time the customer comes in, ask them about it and say, how's your daughter doing at Georgia Tech? It helps for old people like me because you can't remember everything about every single person. Cool? Just a couple of ways to use the notes. And Antonio, again, get ready. You're going to go up next. All right. Are y'all texting people? Are you pushing people to text to drive? Because again, the superpower Michaela wanted was to slow down time. Another way we can slow down time is by texting people so they don't call. Calls take a long time. Okay, so let's create some of those times with some text. Got a couple of tips for you. Before a customer comes in, you ought to text them a PIN for your location or at least an exit number for where they're going. Not everybody knows where you are. A lot of people move around the country, and if you're in any town in Colorado, there's a bunch of people like me from Texas that moved in, and we don't know our butt from a hole in the ground. So give me an exit number. Don't say, oh, it's over by the old mill. Dude, I ain't from here. I also love dropping the PIN location in a text. You can do this in text to drive. You can do this in CDK and Reynolds and all those. So if you don't know how to do it, let people know. It's just a really cool tip to make them know that you care about them being apprehensive. Next, you can send a text for a check-in process. And you ought to do this the day before a customer's coming. And if they're an afternoon, maybe set up your system to text them in the morning if they're coming in the day of an afternoon. If you're doing that, let people in on what the check-in process is going to be. That packet of the vehicle, let them know that they're going to assist with a safety inspection. It's a very good text to prep the customer. Again, planning will allow you then to be the person you want to be, to give you the conversations that you want. Service updates, we'll go over this one big time. You need to make sure that the customer knows you're going to send them recommendations via text or email. And I'm going to share with you guys, especially the new folks, the quickest way to get your vehicle is to authorize those recommendations so I can let my service or my technician know. I'm going to repeat that one more time for everybody. Before a customer leaves, you need to set them up and let them know everything we do is time sensitive. The quickest way to get your vehicle is by saying yes to those recommendations so I can alert my certified technician. That sets up your friend, that sells your friend, it creates time, and it makes customers aware that we have a process and that we can get together. Antonio, are you sending recommendations? And if so, how are you coaching people to say yes?
So when I check them in, I usually tell them they're going to get a text message saying that they're going to receive a link pretty soon. When they get the video inspection, I usually text them right after that and say, did you receive the video? Did you look at it? And Reynolds has this vehicle inspection report where you can print out the estimate. And I download the estimate and I just send it through text to drive, showing all the pricing, and they can just text me through there. Yeah, and that's usually how it works. And sometimes they can call, but as long as I send them the estimates, I'll be just knowing what they're calling for. And
again, I don't want calls. I want text. Again, I would share with them, the quicker you say yes, the quicker we can get your Camry out. And the reason that is, we don't want to delay. We want to make sure that we have, we want to make sure that everything flows right. Also, we'll do a little show of hands. How many people are following up with their customers via text after they leave? All right, we got a couple. Want to challenge you. I got a book in it, month of service advisor tips. I give you a follow-up strategy called 2222. We ought to text a customer 2 hours after they leave, 2 days after they leave, 2 weeks after they leave, and 2 months after they leave. The 2-hour one, just telling people thanks and making sure that everything that was done today is cool. Reason, sometimes we don't fix it right the first time. and we can catch things quickly. The 2-day follow-up is just a more general thank you. You can automate all of these in text to drive other than the 2-hour. So the 2-day one, you can write a 2-day text that sends to each and every person. 2 weeks later, that's the survey reminder. It's going to be in your inbox. This is going to be the title of the email. This is how I want it scored. Or, and we'll go over this maybe in a minute because I'm running out of time, but not pages, sharing with customers that, hey, 92% of the people give me a perfect score, just makes them feel like we're being really successful at what we do. And then 2 months later, that text can be, are you ready to come back? Okay. All of this is in my book. If you want a copy of the book, drop me your address in the chat. I'll send you a free copy of the book. But it's called 2222. I didn't create it. It was actually created by a guy from Ford. So I need to give credit where credit is due. It's a very smart way to use your tools and follow up with the customers. Again, to make them feel that you care, and you should. You see what I'm saying? All of this makes the customer understand that we're there for them. Next, shared with you guys that I wanted to give you some specific tips. And this is very specific. I want you to listen correctly. We need to keep eye contact. But what does that mean? Well, the tip from the internet says you need to hold eye contact for 3 to 5 seconds at a time, then glance away so we're not staring at people. Now, dudes, please do not stare at chicks. It gets really creepy. Now, I don't really mind when the chicks stare at me, but that's a conversation for a beer and a pool game. Dudes, don't stare. Get good eye contact, look away. But even with other men, other people of your gender, you can stare down people and cause a conflict. So I'm not asking you to stare. Now, the one that I want to talk about is mine. My tip is the around the face contact method. Now, this is what I actually do. And it wasn't until I went to college that I learned that it was real. What I do is I look at someone's right eye, then I look at their left eye for a couple of seconds, then I look at their nose, then I look at their mouth, then I glance to their ear, then I go back and return to the eyes. And the reason, I'm kind of intense. I'm a little dude, but I'm intense. And I find that I can stare down people quickly and I get them to look down. I don't want that. I want them to keep looking at me. So I go around the face. It's a softer approach. Very similar to when you're diffusing a customer. Not sure if you guys are aware of this. Most people are right-handed. So if you want to be submissive to your customer, if you know you did wrong or your technician did wrong, you stand on their left side to allow their right side to remain dominant. However, if you know they're wrong, stand on their right side. And what I like doing is circling them. I make them walk in a circle. I get on that dominant hand and it's like we're boxing. And I'll move and I'll move and I'll move. And once I turn them about twice, I start pointing down to that chair and I make them sit back down. That's how to diffuse a customer. So if you know you're wrong, stay on their left side. If you know you're right and you want to be more dominant, stay on their right. All of this stuff matters. It absolutely matters. Let's go back to the screen. A couple things with the eye contact. Again, it should be genuine and attentive. Again, you're not bored. You're not looking through their eyes. But lastly, and I think it was Megan who said this, you need to pay attention to the customer's body language. Maybe they don't like any of that stuff. So maybe you need to mirror the customer, be adaptive, personalize it to their experience. Cool? Any questions on that? All right. Now, this is a big one. We got 10 minutes left, and this is probably the most useful one you have. Customer calls in and they are pissed. Happens all the time. Probably not at Greeley, but other than that, probably happens all the time. Man, people call in and they're hot. What do you say? How do you redirect? When do you redirect? I'm going to give you some solid ways to do this. First, we got to build empathy in the condition, not the car. What I'm saying is if a customer's really mad and they're frustrated because they brought their vehicle to us and now their vehicle is smoking, don't talk about the smoking. Say something like, oh, and Vivian's coming in. I think she's going to come in for the tail end of the class. I can understand why you feel frustrated about the issue. Let's work together to get it resolved as quickly as possible. You don't always go for, how long has the check engine light been on? When did the vehicle start smoking? We got to build some empathy. Couple more. It sounds like this has been an inconvenience for you. And if it was your fault, apologize for it. I apologize. I want to make sure we're going to take care of it promptly. And if you've already done it, we're going to take care of it properly and promptly this time. I can see how important this is for you. Look, that's a real good one. I can see how important this is for you. Acknowledge that this matters. Remember, there are no small problems. There are no big problems. There's no little amount of money. There's no big amount of money. It is what this is. And I understand that it's important to you. Brothers and sisters, you're not going to get much of a better word track than that. I can see how it's important for you to have your car running smoothly. I can see how important it is for you to get in this Friday. I can see how important it is that we get this done by 4, and I'm going to ensure you that that's going to happen. I'm going to ensure you that it's going to get back to this condition. I'm going to ensure you that you are in the right hands. Hey, I get that it was an unexpected repair, and it can be stressful. Let's go over the best options for you moving forward. This is when we introduce Sunbit. Talk about warranties. I get that this is an unexpected repair and it can be stressful. Let's go over the best options, choices, and details that we have. Another one with money. I hear your concern about cost. I'm going to make sure to share everything clearly so you understand the value of what we're doing. This is something that we say before we discount. So instead of just saying, oh, Abigail, I know you ain't got the money, girl. You broke. And let me give you 10% off. Say, hey, understand cost is always a concern. Let me share with you everything we're doing clearly so you understand the value of what we're doing. All these redirects build empathy with the customer. That's what we want. We don't want to sympathize because that means the customer's SOL and we're not invested. We want to empathize. We're in it with you. You see the difference? All right, we got 7 minutes left. I don't know. I'm trying to get finished. We'll see. I think I'm on the last page. All right, last page. In my book, I have a chapter of affirmations. If you don't know what affirmations are, they are sayings to live by. If you know me, mine is every day is a great day to be Mitch. And brothers and sisters, I mean it. I push it. I try to make every day the very best day it's going to be because honestly, I don't know how many days I got left. Seriously, I try to live every day like it's going to be my last one. So if I meet my maker, I can say, dang, it was fun to get that last bit of ice cream today. I try to make every day a great day to be Mitch. I want to give you a few, and then we're going to go around the room, see if anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns. So I have them in my book. And again, if you want a copy of the book, drop your address in. I'll send you a free book. I can send you a copy of each. All right. First, we got to make sure that our body is right. So one of my affirmations is I am well rested and excited for the day. If you're not getting the right kind of sleep, you're not going to be the person that you need to be. And you ought to be excited that you get to affect so many people. Next, negative thoughts only have the power I allow them. Now, this is very Hawaiian, okay? Because in Hawaii, you don't have negative thoughts, and you know that those negative thoughts, you have power over them, not the other way around. I feed my spirit, I train my body, I focus my mind, and this is my time. And I'm serious, me and Michaela didn't work this out. Her superpower is slowing down time. All of these things slow down time. Next, got a few for your mind today. I am optimistic because today is a new day. And that's just an offshoot of every day's a great day to be Megan. I am in control of how I react to others. Very first chapter in one of those books is on attitude. You control your attitude, not your manager, not your customer. The way they affect you is you. You affect it, and only you. Next, no amount of worrying can change the future. Now, this is one that I need to work on. I worry about everything. I worry for y'all. I worry for I'm the biggest worrier in the history of worriers. I need to lay off that because my worry don't change the future. It's my actions that do. Last three, success. I want you all to be successful. Changing my mind is a strength. It's not a weakness. Take something that you learned today, put it into practice. Second, to make small steps toward big goals is progress. Look, you ain't going to get great in a day. You're not going to be the best person you can be in a day. You're not going to be the best service advisor you can be in the day. It's a process. Work on it, but enjoy the process. Last, my potential to succeed is limitless. And if you don't believe it, tell me why. Let me help you solve it. If I don't know the answer, I know people that do. Your potential to succeed at Ken Garff is limitless. Are you treating it that way? Are you treating it like a job? Or are you treating it like your career or your life? That's what we need to do to be better at what we do. All right, we'll start in Greeley. Boys and girls, Michaela Superpower. What y'all think of the class? It's the first time I gave it. What's your reflections? Michaela, we'll call on you.
All right. I thought it gave a lot of good insights. I think an important note I took away from that is the details are really important. Really be thoughtful about every part of the process. It's not about just checking somebody in and out. You're giving them advice. You're in control of the situation. You want to be thoughtful about the process.
I like it. David and Kurt, I'd really like to give you my onboarding class. You can reach out to me via email through your manager or to Frank. Got a class that goes into a little more specifics, of course. This was a very general class. I know you only been doing this 3 weeks. I appreciate your patience with me and sorry for calling on you about stuff that you didn't know about. I didn't want to put you in a bad spot, but mahalo, thanks for coming. We'll go to Jorge, Nathan, and Antonio next. Jorge, what'd you learn today? What can you put to use?
I think what I learned from today is just being able to connect with the customers and making sure you make a good relationship with them, right? So I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to that. No one's going to want to, go ahead with any future services with you if you don't have a good relationship with the customer, right? So I think for me, that's the main focus is it's just, making a connection with them and being a friend, and not just someone who's trying to sell,
I like it. No, all of that's great stuff. Antonio, what'd you learn today that you can use?
Definitely how to set up the next appointment for your customer.
Yeah, that's a cool tip, dude. When you're doing that and you go, it's just, man, one process leads into another.
Just how to talk to them about what they're going to be needing in the future. Definitely.
Cool. Nathan, how about you? What'd you learn today that you can use? And then we'll go Alex and Abigail and Edgar next.
Definitely the how crucial the check in and out process is going to be for you and the customer, building that relationship with the customer and just making sure, you hit all the right buttons with them so they're happy for the next service too.
I dig it. I got an active delivery class. It's called Lasting Impressions. If you're into active delivery, we can book that. Again, all of my classes can be booked one-on-one. Doesn't have to be in a group setting like this. So I appreciate that. Alex, what'd you learn today that you can use?
Learned 2 things in this class. I learned when you're doing the delivery, pop the hood, show them what we did.
That's a real good tip, and we'll give a shout out to Gary on that tip. Just a great tip.
And then the other one was this, setting up the next appointment. For example, when you go to the doctors, they set your next appointment to come back
No
in.
doubt.
So
Oh.
that's what I learned today.
Super smart. Abigail, what'd you learn today?
Two things you said really resonated with me that I'm going to start implementing. One is the time on the clock, not the number. That's huge. I need to definitely implement that. And then also walk in the lounge, making sure every hour, everybody good? Anybody
Yeah,
need
touch
anything?
base,
Even if it's
man.
not my customer.
It goes
they'll
so
remember me.
far. I used to do it when I worked at the dealership a bunch. I mean, one, because I was lazy and I wasn't doing my real job, so it was a good way to fake it. But no, it made people happy. It did, so that's good. All right, couple more. Megan, Gary, Vivian. Gary, what you got? What'd you learn today? You seem to
Well-
give tip of the day, Gary. I appreciate it, bud.
I don't know about that. Maybe I can still learn something here or there, but I like I like your plan to plan. I try to plan almost everything we do. Now, sometimes like every advisor out there, our plans get changed almost instantly, but you got to start somewhere.
That's right.
I like your 22-22, or we're going to expand on that a little bit. And a lot of good tips. I took a couple of snapshots of your screenshots. So,
Awesome.
if we just do a little bit of these tips that were laid out today and talked about, and we implement it, we're going to get better and better every time, right? And just continue to work on it. So we've got a lot of work to do at our stores.
Yeah.
So we're going to implement some of these things. So
Well,
appreciate it.
I'd love to get out there and work with you guys a little bit. I do have a trip planned for Hawaii for the summer, so maybe I can piggyback and come see you guys.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, let's set something up.
Awesome.
Definitely stop by.
Yeah, sounds fun. Megan, Vivian, or yeah, I haven't called on you guys, and then Maritza and Sarah. Megan, Vivian, what y'all got? What'd you learn today, Megan?
Yeah, one of the things that I really liked was empathize, not sympathize, which
Yeah.
I do think that we tend to sympathize a lot more, and I didn't really think about the differences between the two, but empathy does have a better connection than just sympathize. It's like, oh my gosh, I understand how you're feeling, instead of I'm so sorry this is happening to you. So
Exactly. It's
I
happening
like
to
that.
us. Yeah, that's a good one. Vivian, not sure you came in late, but what if you can go off of mute? What'd you learn today that you can use? And if not, Maritza and Sarah, why don't y'all go? Yeah, Maritza and Sarah, why don't y'all just go? If that's still who the names get confused. So y'all go ahead.
It's the right names. Probably two were the personal, like writing down the personal information, like their grandson goes to ASU or whatever.
Oh, dude, it's so cool. Put those notes in.
Yeah.
Man, when people are just like, I used to go to Starbucks and every time I'd go, they'd say, hey, triple venti skinny vanilla latte. I like being a regular. Being a regular is cool. How about you? What'd you learn?
Kind of just following back on what she said.
Okay.
Just kind of like remembering the customer, making them feel like they are regulars.
Awesome. I like it. Well, thanks for coming in. Mahalo. Frank, what you got before we bounce?
First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time out of your morning to do this. I know it's a lot getting out of the dealership and spending an hour, but one thing to remember, you're going to pick up a lot of stuff from here. Even if you pick up some items, you're not going to implement everything at the same time. Implement what you can, get good at it, and then implement something different. For all of you on this call, this is not just a monthly thing. Mitch does training all the time. So if you are struggling in an area, whether it be upsell, whether it be CSI, whether it be walk around, get a hold of your manager. We can set some training up. Mitch does do in-person training. We just need to get it set up with your region and get things done. So if you're interested, get a hold of all your managers. They know what we have available, and we can get this taken care of for you. Also, Abigail, I'm setting up your text to drive right now, so I'll have everything hopefully running really quick. And
Thank you.
I think that should be about it. I appreciate you guys, and if you have any questions, give us a call.
Awesome.
Mitch,
Mahalo.
go
And
ahead
I'll
and
send
email
out
me.
those books for the people that asked for them. Y'all
Oh,
have a blessed
Michaela.
day. And in Greeley, I'll see you guys soon. I want to come up there in person.
Michaela, it's been a
Yes.
while. I hope everything's going good.
Yes.
Well, good. Take
Awesome.
care.
Y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you.